I used to work for a tech contracting company that pinched pennies. This company recruited a handful of people for a large tech company, and got away with paying below market wages because they targeted new grads and let us all work remotely. I was fresh out of college and just thankful to have a job, especially one in my field. My company's travel policy covered airfare, cheapest option only, hotel costs, very low cost cap per night, and a small per diem for food. One decent dinner would eat up most of this. Their travel policy actually started out as, we will not reimburse you for anything but will also fire you if you don't show up, which is a different story for another time. Most everyone on my team was out of state and would require a flight to get to the office on the rare occasion us remote workers were required in office 3 to 4 times a year. I was, however, fairly close to the office, and whenever I traveled, would just drive my car. The gas costs were minimal and I liked having a car with me. And my company was happy because I could get cheaper hotels that were slightly farther from the office, and they didn't have to pay for airfare. Flying was technically possible for me, would have been several $100s though. After one trip, I mentioned to a manager at large tech that I wasn't getting mileage reimbursement for driving my personal car, and she flagged it to contracting company, and forced them to change their policy, which was very kind of her, but was not my intention. So I got a retroactive reimbursement for mileage for that trip, which ended up being just over $100 for a week and a half of travel. Nothing crazy, I was glad to have it, and was happy that would be the policy going forward. But when planning my next trip, contracting company mentioned their travel policy had been updated. No more reimbursing mileage for personal vehicles, but now car rentals were covered if the worker was located within 500 miles and would be driving to the office. And they recommended I rent a car for this trip, since they figured it would be cheaper than getting a flight. I asked if I could just drive my car and get reimbursed like last time, but they declined and said it was the new policy. Since they wanted to save money, and I'm such a team player, I went with their recommendation and rented a car for my next 2-week trip. The only car within policy was a tiny sedan, the cheapest option. I was 21 at this point in my life, maybe 22. Car rental companies have a daily surcharge for drivers under 25. So the total cost for just the car ended up being close to $800 before the cost of gas. Which was actually more than before, since this tiny sedan was not actually fuel efficient at all, compared to my personal car. After the trip I submitted my receipts for reimbursement and got pushback due to the cost. Just company policy. They did pay me back after about a month or so. And they told me next trip, I could drive my own car again, and they'd reimburse for mileage, and would be updating their policy again to reflect this. But then the pandemic happened, and all in-office visits were cancelled. I now am lucky enough to work at a different company that has a very generous travel policy, and treats its employees very well overall, which I appreciate more fully than some of my current co-workers, I think.